You are watching and listening to Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and your favourite podcasts.
Are you ready? I'm saying, are you ready?
Watch us on YouTube. Listen on your favourite podcast platform. Or ask your smart speaker to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Right, Chris.
Hello, how are you? Nice to see you. Welcome along. I don't know. Can everybody hear me twice? Or just the once? That's better. I don't know what's happening there, but I was in stereo for myself. What can I say? I'm worth listening to twice. Look, we started doing these a few weeks ago when we weren't doing so well. We thought, let's have a look and see what's going wrong in the games. And to be honest with you, they are such good fun that we decided we'd do them anyway. I can't live without a bit of Brad in my life, you know. But that's what it is. Good evening, good day, good morning, good afternoon, good night, goodbye. Hello, welcome along. It is LTID TV from Leicester Till I Die. Thank you for joining us, or whether you're watching via YouTube or listening via your favourite podcast platform. This is what I would ask you to do if you would be so kind, and that is to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell. It all helps the channel. You know that, though. I've told you so many times. You must be fed up by now. But let me bring my guest in. It's not just me. I am the Gary Lineker, if you like, of the pair of us. I will bring you in the I want to say Danny Mills, but I don't know whether he'll be happy with that or not. No, I can see him in the green room. Apparently not. Apparently Danny Mills is not good. It'll be me and Brad, and this is the review show. Brad, it's all going so swimmingly well this evening. How are you?
It is. I just thought you was, being silent for dramatic pause. But yeah, I'm doing all right, mate.
I could hear it, and I could hear it twice. I thought, hello, I've got Brad's echo. It's catching. But we're here to talk about the match. As I've put there, and excuse my bad puns, you know what I'm like. I love a pair of bad puns. Just ask the ex-missus. Four middle foxes punish the Pilgrims. 4-0. Wow. We're going to obviously get into a lot more detail about the match, but that was a statement win, wasn't it?
It was probably long overdue as well. We've had a few dodgy results in the last 5 games or so, but I say, Chris, I always try and look at it in brackets of 2s and 3s, and That then Middlesbrough and Leeds back-to-back defeats look a long way away. We're undefeated now in 4, 3 wins, a draw, and the perfect early Christmas gift, if you will. It was a resounding performance all around. And I know we blitzed them in like 6.5 minutes in the second half. And while some changes came on that kind of really showed that he was happy with 4 and he wanted to rest players, and I totally understand that with what's coming around the corner for the club in terms of fixture congestion, it still could have easily been 7 or 8, Chris.
Yes.
It really could have been twice as bad as what it was for Plymouth. I think Plymouth fans, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like Plymouth fans will be glad that it was that we stopped and showed mercy at 4.
Yes, we did seem to sort of go off, not say off the boil. That's probably been a little bit unfair. I mean, at 4-0, I mean, all right, there's 70 minutes gone or something like that. I'm just kind of look at it there. Well, in fact, at 55 minutes, it was 4-0. The match was won, wasn't it? Really.
Yeah, and we've said this, given Leicester's position, and it is one of luxury. I know Ipswich are still on our coattails, but it's still one of luxury to have at Leicester because we are now seeing that whilst Leeds are... Oh, sorry, let me correct myself. While Spurs Chester United sit in 3rd, everybody else lower than them dropped points. So the teams that are feeling like they still have a chance of catching us it feels like that's getting smaller and smaller as each week goes by. And we're in such a position of luxury, not just being top, but by having such a gulf in thing that, you know, it's like you always say, Chris, doesn't matter if you win 1-0, 6-0, you only get 3 points for it. We don't really have to worry about our goal difference, and the way we're going, we're only going to keep adding to our goal difference anyway. So good luck to anyone who's trying to catch our points and goals tally.
If we take our blue tinted spectacles off just a little bit, 1-0
at half
time. It says 1-0 at half time. It could have been 3-2. Either way, really. I mean, we missed a couple of sitters, but Plymouth, I mean, all right, Hermansen didn't have to break sweat to make his saves, but he was called upon down to our own errors, really.
Yeah, it's just been a tale for our season. We tend to, more times than not, be the makers of our own downfall if we do concede a goal. And you're right. I mean, I watched all the extended highlights and pretty much any feature of goals that of people putting up the match as I could really. And I have to admit there was at least one chance they had where I think even he should have done better. I think he should have either made Hermansen make a much more difficult save than he had to, or he should have probably scored it, to be honest with you. He had the whole of the other side of the goal to aim at. So if you really want to be a negative Nelly, as the expression is, I suppose you could say, well, if we go up next season and give up these chances, they're going to punish us. And that's probably true. The majority of teams in the Premiership are going to take these chances. But that, as we always say, that's next season's issue, not this season's issue. You can only beat what's in front of you, and that. So yeah, it could have been a different scoreline, but it wasn't, thankfully. No. And the Foxes made them pay for it.
That's it. Fair point. At the end of the day, it could have, would have, should have, but wasn't. You know, and like you say, we'll worry about next year, next season, and we will be looking at maybe some changes that the club are being linked with. Which is, as always, every man and his dog when it comes to the transfer window looming. I'm actually dreading it because it's just absolute. What I did last window was I just didn't sort of go along with any of the silly speculation, which I'm going to do that again. But look, again, let's bring the table up. There we go. I mean, how good does that still look? We could have sort of fallen back a little bit. Ipswich had their chance, and they drew the 2 games instead of winning them. Leeds, well, you know, I thought they were going to be top by 5 points by now after they beat us, after what they said. But they're still hanging in. Southampton are hanging in. It seems to me once you get and Southampton now have got a 6-point cushion over West Brom. So you've got to say probably it's going to be 3 of those 4. Although obviously you don't know the playoffs exactly, but I think 3 of those 4 are going to be the teams that go up this season.
Yeah, you don't want to kind of write anything off just yet. We've seen some miraculous late second half of the season charges. I think Huddersfield were one team that did it, and obviously Forest. They were a bit earlier in the season, but they did something not too dissimilar where they raced up and got into the playoffs. So you don't want to count anybody out. But looking at that half of the first half of the season, I mean, you look at, and I'm just going to quickly go off camera so I can make sure I see the digits properly. I am still here, don't worry. But you look at Sunderland and West Brom, right? They've got 6 defeats, 8 defeats, and then it's 8, 6, 7, 6, 10, 9, rest of the way down. You look at Leicester's, Ipswich, Leeds, and Southampton. Southampton have 4, Leicester and Leeds both have 3, and surprisingly, Ipswich have the least with just the 2 defeats. But the thing that's given us the edge is the obvious one. Leeds, Southampton are drawing a lot more, whereas we have literally either lived or died by the sword, minus Sheffield Wednesday. So that's where we have the difference. And imagine when you see three or 4 teams showing that sort of strength to have a lot of wins on the board and not too many draws. That tends to show you who's going to be at least in the talking point for the last couple of weeks of the season for the automatic spots. I can imagine Leeds and Southampton are going to push us as much as they can all the way.
Yes. After that, though, I mean it's take your pick, really, isn't it? I mean it's different every week. And you look at it and you think, well, this team's going to break away. I mean, Sunderland sacked the manager; they get a win. Stoke have just sacked the manager today. He's gone. Did they lose at the weekend, Stoke?
Who did they play?
Here. Stoke. I can't find them. Oh yeah, they lost to Sheffield Wednesday.
Yes, the Mighty Owls. Yeah.
I'm surprised you forgot that one, Brad.
Oh wow. It's just Stoke. They're a championship side. This is a very strange division for manager sackings, because I know you say like Sunderland won and went into the playoffs, but they were 9th. They were in that position anyway, where if teams drop points and they won, they'd win. Some of the manager sackings in this division don't make sense. We complain that you don't get time and that in the Premier League. Well, it seems like it's filtered into the Championship, because some manager sackings. I mean, when you consider, I can't see Norwich City on that list, and they've stuck by their manager, who was, practically out the door and packing his bags when they lost to Blackburn 6 or 7 games ago. But they're sticking by him, and they're not even in the top half. So, bit strange.
Yeah. It is, but when you look at that table there, I mean, Blackburn haven't really been in the playoffs yet, but Cardiff, Hull, Preston, Middlesbrough, they've all at some point over the last week have been in the playoff positions. So there's nothing. That's all to play for. And are we sort of counting our chickens? I mean, I don't want to sort of, and I'm going to say hi to Luke who's in, but I don't want to be in Arsenal and say like we've won the Premier League and then go and lose to was it Aston Villa? They lost to yesterday. Hello, Luca. How you doing?
That'd be a story, wouldn't
it? Yeah. Look, is it? Am I counting chickens too soon?
It's easy to say that you are, because obviously we're only 20 games into the season, but the fact that we are where we are where we are. We're not even technically at the halfway point, and we're we're looking like, unless something goes wrong over the next 3 games, it looks like we're going to break into that 50 point mark already. And you say, what was it Ranieri said when they got, what was it, 39 points in the first half of the Premier League season when they won it? Okay, now we need 41 points. And Jamie Vardy was like, okay, we need 2 more points. It's like, no, I want you to go and get 41 more points. You think if Leicester have got 50 odd points by the halfway stage, well, you only need 50 then, 50 to get 100. You probably need about 87 points.
You know what? You got your maths so level, didn't you?
No, you can tell. But you need less. You need to accumulate less points in the second half of the season, which tends to be the harder part than you did in the first. And if you get yourself in that position,
I know what you mean. I was just being very facetious for comedic.
Yeah, it's been lost. I think you only need 87 points this season to go up top 2.
Really?
I don't know if that'll win you the title, but yeah, I honestly think about 87 points will get you out of this division in the top 2. I think there's still points for Leeds and Southampton and the chasing pack to drop. Because, like you said, Chris, look at it. From 5th down to 12th, there's 5 points separating West Brom and Middlesbrough. They're going to fight amongst themselves. They're going to drop points. I honestly think 87 points is the target to get top 2 this season.
I mean, I'll put the champagne back in the fridge. Get it well. First celebrated. Now then, look, as you know, I normally do the form table on the last 6 games. For reason the fact that I'm a lazy bastard and I just wanted to copy and paste for the preview, I did it on 5. But I couldn't find a form table that just shows the last 5 games. So I could have gone for 4 or I could have gone for 6. There's a reason that I actually plumped and just went for the last 4. Because look, we're top.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense.
No, not stupid me up here for thinking. But and then I also thought, well, in fairness, 4 games, it's a month, isn't it? Almost in most months, it covers the month. But look, we're back up to top. Leeds second, but look at that, QPR in 3rd in the form table. Coventry 4th, Ipswich down to 5th. Norwich are up there in 8th. It is a tough division, isn't it? We've got to say. I mean, let's not count our chickens too soon. But as confident as I am feeling now, and we're fickle as fans, aren't we? You look how we were talking. After your little Enzo rant, but it's all changed. Good times are back again.
Yeah, it is, and you might not be counting the chickens, but I've dared to name 1 or 2 before they hatch, because I just think that whilst 8 points is never comfortable, I'm not going to sit here and say we've got promotion in the bag now, but you'd imagine that it realistically is on Leicester now to not get promoted, in a sense, isn't it, Chris? Because, like I say, let's just hypothetically say that Leicester are 50 plus points by the time we get to game week 23. By the time game week 23 is finished. So that's halfway in the fixture lists. Quick maths for anybody if they know, that's because we got 46 games to play. There, see? Quick maths, A level. So if we get into 50 odd points by that stage, I would start to say that we probably have the confidence and the playing ability to, and also the help, the squad size we've got to not fare much worse than what we have. I say worse. We've only got one. We've only got, if we mirrored what we do in the first half of the season, Chris, I just think there is too many times that them top six, the other 6 teams below us, if you want to go down from like 2nd to 8th to give like a playoff battle, if you will, will drop too many points and not be able to gain points, because that's what's happened, hasn't it, Chris? Every time someone's gone, oh, we're 7 points off Leicester, Leeds play Sheffield, Leeds play bloody Southampton, they draw, we win, and all of a sudden they're back to 9 points behind us. You know what I mean? I think the congestion of having to play each other, as long as we do our job against them, I just don't see how we mess this up. I think it would be on Leicester to mess it up from that point onwards.
Hours to lose, would you say?
Yeah, I would go as far to say that. I think, certainly not counting my chickens in the title race, but I would definitely say automatic promotion is ours to lose. Because the title is definitely far from counting chickens. I'm not even I'm still waiting for the eggs to be laid for that one, let alone counting them. But
I don't think we're being big-headed there by saying that. And you know, let's just. I mean, I've got to say, got to give Plymouth credit. You know, the guy said that they would come at us at 1-0 down. Their heads didn't drop. They still came at us, even at sort of 2 and 3 down. Even after that blitz, they were still they're coming at us. There's no way did they park the bus. But we've got coming up. So what I was going to say is that promotion is the main aim. I don't care whether we go up as champions or we go as runners up. I don't want to go up via the playoffs, because that is a bit of a lottery, as we know. We've been there too many times, haven't we? But if we do go up, then winning the damn thing is a bonus.
Of course it is, and you like to have that mentality of you going up as champions, you're going up stronger than everybody else, you're making your statement, and I think Leicester will do that. I think Leicester probably have that edge, and it's not sourness. It's a fair representation of other teams saying that Leicester have a far better squad for this division than anybody put together. And yes, Leeds have a good squad, and Ipswich probably have a better squad than they make out. But in terms of what we have the availability to change up, which we'll talk about when we get on to the lineup that we had starting the game, I think it's fair to say that Leicester really should get out of here with the icing and cherry on top, and come out of this division as champions. I don't think it benefits us, Chris.
Yeah,
I think it benefits us to try and win the division, just to kind of, because it makes these players. And I know, look, promotion is the goal at the end of the day, but it kind of would go to the players. That's what you get for your hard work. You deserve that for your hard work, sort of thing.
And we would also go one more than Manchester City, because we're joined with them on 7 second-tier titles each. And unless the Premier League are going to dock Manchester City points, they're not going to be dropping out the Premier League in the near future. So it would be nice to get one over on them. It also means we've been relegated more often, of course, but we ignore that point. I
thought I'd let you say that one this time, because you didn't like it when I brought it up last time.
I know. But look, we've got Millwall on Wednesday. We've then got, before the end of the year, we've got Birmingham away the following Monday, which on paper shouldn't be too difficult. Rotherham, again, on paper shouldn't be too difficult. Boxing Day, 7:45 kickoff. Thank you, EFL. But that said, I know the club are doing something special for the fans there. And I'm not sure what are they giving away for that one, the club?
I think they're organising the away travel. And probably our owners have always been great this time of year, to be honest with you. They understand that football's run by money, so unfortunately the fans suffer through it, which typically, yet again, somehow Leicester have ended up suffering through it because they're playing Ipswich. It will probably, you're saying it's going to most likely be first versus second at that point. Unless something dramatic happened, and even then, it's going to be a team chasing you versus.
It's either second versus first or first versus second. It's going to be one of those two, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I can't see it being any different. But but our owners have always been good. I'm pretty sure they've either covered a percentage of the travel for everybody, or they've actually outright paid for the travel, because our owners have always done it. I mean, I've told this story a million one times, but we get hundreds of you lovely new subscribers each day of the week. And if you are new, you get to hear my story for the first time. And if you've heard it before, sigh a little bit, go and make the kettle. But I remember when I worked for Leicester, Chris, I don't ask me how I always confuse it. I'm pretty sure it was Liverpool. We played in and around Christmas and New Year one season. And it was an early kickoff as well. So like their coach got here at like 9-10 o'clock in the morning, because it was like a 12:30 kickoff. And our owners paid for every single fan, home and away crowd. They don't just look after our own, they looked after the away end. This is why I make the point. And they paid for every single home and away fan who had a ticket or a season ticket. Just all you needed to do was show it to the kiosks, and you got a free beer and beer. Well, beer unless you're under 18, you got a free bottle of pop and a free burger. And they even made sure that the travelling away fans, and I think they did it for the Leicester fans as well on the away game that followed, they gave them a free breakfast. Oh, so. Yeah. Our owners have always been generous to fans wanting to do it.
Let us know in the chat, and please, if you want to stick any questions in the chat, we'll do general ones at the end. Please try and keep your questions to what we're talking about at that moment. Otherwise, they will get forgotten when we actually, if we're covering your topic. If we don't, I'll star it and come back to it at the end, as I've done with one of Luca's questions. But let us know, because it is 7:45 on Boxing Day now. Last year we didn't do anything on Boxing Day, and I'm not expecting anybody to join me on this, but I am considering on the Boxing Day match, because if it had been a 3 o'clock kickoff, no, I'd have been stuffing myself with turkey. But because it is 7:45 at night, and because it's Ipswich, I may well be tempted to do a watch along for that. But let me know in the chat if you would like me to do a watch along for that. But yeah, so we're saying the upcoming games here are, as they got Millwall Wednesday, then away to Birmingham, home to Rotherham. The Ipswich game is Cardiff away, and then Huddersfield at home on New Year's Day, and that's all before the FA Cup. So definitely not. And that's a reasonable selection. I mean, I would be looking there 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13. 14, 15 points minimum, I think, for me.
I don't see why we can't take maximum points from it, to be honest with you. I think the thing that helps us with that, I think that is the most favourable congestion of fixtures you could ask for, given our position. You've got... I would much rather have Rotherham and Huddersfield through this Christmas period than I would Leeds and Southampton and teams like that. And the best thing about playing the likes of Huddersfield and Rotherham second time around is we've already played them both away, so they're home matches. So you don't feel like that banana skins there when it's at home. Do you? If you go to Rotherham away on like the 28th of December, you think, oh god, this could go wrong. But I feel a bit more relaxed now. And we've got the banana skins, if you will, at home. Yeah. Look, Birmingham and Ipswich, I can see us beating them as well. So however many games you said there, Chris, I think you said Cardiff as well in there.
It's 18 points. If we win everything, it's 18. I've got us maybe dropping against Ipswich and possibly Millwall. But there's no reason why. I will say there's no reason we can't get 18 out of 18. Mm-hmm. And at worst, and I'm going to get such hate for this if it all goes wrong for us now, but a draw against Ipswich. I would go a draw against Ipswich, but I honestly don't see why we can't go and get 18 points. Sorry, I have a big screen and I thought I was going to have to rant away. No,
I think we get 18.
I know where it is if I need to come back and clip that, and we can.
Okay.
That was what
there you go. Yeah, but the thing is, Chris,
after we've got coming up.
Yeah.
So not the hardest of this lot of them games, but I don't think the hardest. But look, let's go back to the 4-0 win, the biggest win of the weekend in the Championship. And look at that team. So Hermansen, and we're going to come on to ratings later. Chowdhury, Faz, Vestergaard, Justin Ndidi, Winks, Dewsbury Hall, Fatawu, Mavadidi, and Daka. Chowdhury, captain, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, Enzo said at the start of the season there isn't going to be an out-and-out captain, and whilst we've seen the same sort of few names take the captain armband, i.e. Ricardo or Vardy, you know, it's good to know that we've got a lot of players that he entrusts to be captain or sees as potential captain material for the occasion. And I think that was something that maybe was lost on Leicester the last 2 seasons before. You know, if we had a sick note, Man United sick note now, but we had a sick note as a captain who might as well have stayed at home twiddling his thumbs and sat in his pajamas for how much worth he gave us in the last 8 months. But I'm not bitter or sour or annoyed at him, Johnny Evans, you prick. But you know, it's good to see. No, there's nothing alleged about it. He is, mate. What a turncoat. Everybody moaned at others. I'd rather them back than have him. But anyway, I'm not bitter. I'm not sour. I'm not going to cry about it. But yeah, it was good. I think it was a good choice. I think we've got 3 or 4 leaders in there, and it's good to see that we're seeing some of them have been leaders at the time. So yeah, right choice for me.
I don't think a captain really does that much, does he? Because you've got the manager right next to the field of play. But talk us through your thoughts on the whole starting 11 first of all, then.
Yeah, the majority was where it was at, and until the light was shone on it at the end by Enzo, the only big surprise was that man there in the picture, and goal scorer on the day, Daka. Sometimes in football, Chris, they say you need a little bit of luck, don't you? And they always say that one man's sorrow is another man's joy. Well, Daka got a bit of luck, he got a bit of joy, got a bit of misfortune on others to help him get that position, if you will, because Enzo did confirm in his press conference that 3 attackers are currently out. So that's why he ended up being. But Daka was the big surprise on the sheet because there was no Iheanacho or Vardy on the bench either. So we I don't know why he made us wait until after the game to tell us why that Vardy, Iheanacho and McAteer were missing from the team. He had my heart in my mouth for it, but some surprises can be good surprises, Chris. And Daka, well, I'll talk about it in my analysis, the Daka difference. Yeah, because I'm like you with my shrew titles, mate. That's why I made that up as soon as you asked me when I joined in late. But yeah, it was nice to see. It was nice to see him get a start.
It was. I forgot what I was going to say now. Yes, that's what I was going to say, though. Look, what I like about Daka is pretty much what I like about Sutar, is that we've not had any complaints from either of them.
No, and again, we've touched on this before. About that old cliche that was thrown around when we won the league, that we are a family club and it felt like a family knit unit, and you really do get that impression. I mean, you felt over time, and not just under Brendan, let's not just completely bash him, under Puel as well, and other managers, you did notice that some players, when they weren't playing or they weren't, they might have been training hard but still weren't getting picked, they'd sit on the bench and they'd be like, miserable. And then they'd come on. Well, I mean, Gray was just a Mardy arse. So I can confirm that. That's not allegedly. I'd dealt with it enough. I may have, under my breath, called him a lazy so-and-so when he walked past. Anyway, that's for a different rant. That's a Brad rant for a different time, should I say. But yeah, you notice now that, and you know me, Chris, I watch training videos, I watch the interviews, I analyse everything into depth, which is why I can talk about it till the cows come home. But they look cheerful. And like you said, they don't complain. They don't bitch and moan. They don't delete Leicester City off the socials like certain French Voldemorts did and stuff like that. They get on with it and they're happy to have the chance. And if you haven't already, and I'm sure you may have, Chris, but if you haven't already, go and watch Patson Daka's interview and his short where he watches his goal back. He's so wholesome. He's such a lovely guy, and I really am glad that he's at least contributed something to Leicester this season. He's been able to do something in club football.
When we did Match Day Live at the weekend, and in fairness, Scott and Gray took it well, but I did shoot them down a little bit because they were both Daka doubters. There we go. See, I can do it as well. They were both Daka doubters. And I said, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I do believe I'm correct, as I usually am. I did say, let's judge him at the end of the game. And I think I was proven right in all fairness. But my worry is I remember saying this about a certain central defender from Australia who came on and played for us against Liverpool in the Carabao Cup. All right, we lost 3-1, but the second goal was a wonder goal and the third one went in off the post, which indeed is in. We know, I think if it hits the post, it's a 50-50. It's either going to go in or come out. You know what I mean? So,
oh, he's frozen.
And then he played well in the game after, and I can't remember what that was. And again, am I back? Hello,
you're back. But you did, yeah, you did fast speaking, mate, from freezing to freezing,
from out of space. But, yeah. You know, but then we've not seen him since. Now, I am a little bit worried about this, and we'll talk about transfers later, but are we seeing... Thank you, Daka. Thank you very much. We needed you for that game. But, you know, that's it. You know, we're going to go back to Vardy and Inchy if they're fit.
Well, fortunately, that's the case for any player that's out on the fringes and not getting much time. You do have a stronger 11, and unfortunately, look, I mean, it's kind of like Daka. Do you want the good news or the bad news? The good news is Enzo's all but pretty much said, unless there's a miraculous recovery over the next few days, Iheanacho and Vardy and McAteer aren't available for the midweek game against Millwall. So he'll get another chance. I
think he said he was asked on his future, and he said, "Oh, for me, the future's Wednesday, and he'll definitely be playing."
Yes, which is what he confirmed in his post match. He basically said he's going to be playing Wednesday because Vardy and Iheanacho's ill, and Vardy's not injured, but he's like he tight muscle, so want to rest him. And obviously McAteer plays on the wing, so and Enzo's got a brain and realises Daka's a striker, not a winger. So he'll play Wednesday. And look, this is one of the things where when you kind of you're the hyenas in the sense that he's feeding off scraps, he's feeding whatever's get him. Like you've made this point many a times, Chris. Iheanacho and Vardy, when he started at Leicester, they fed off scraps. They fed off substitute appearances here. They had to be patient. They had to decide whether it was worth being patient and staying at Leicester or try and look elsewhere. I know we're going to talk transfers in a minute, which is going to hurt my heart a little bit. But Daka now has this opportunity. Is it unfortunate that it's come at the cost of Iheanacho and Vardy being sick and injured a little bit? Yeah, of course it is. Sometimes, as much as you don't want it to, you kind of need it to get yourself a chance by the looks of things because of the way they've been playing. Yeah. But who knows? Wednesday, if he tears it up, Chris, it's going to give Enzo a hell of a nice headache to have for the following game.
You're reading my notes again here. That's what I've got written down. Okay, let's talk substitutes as well, because that was the biggest surprise. I think we all had to look at twice and say, like, is that Daka? When we saw that image come up. But what about the substitutes? And he used 5, didn't he? I mean, we'll come on to the ratings obviously later, but for me, Enzo got everything right. But yeah, it was good to see Albrighton came on, didn't particularly do anything wrong. Cody didn't come on, or Sutar. Cashaday, yeah, he did what he had to do, really, didn't he? Pratt, it was nice to see Pratt again, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, and obviously we got Tom Cannon got some minutes. Ben Nelson came on, got some minutes. It was looking like the guy whose name you were dreading to pronounce was going to come on, but he didn't, did he? He didn't come on. Which saved you a job on the watch along because you must have been dreading having to call his name out.
Now, but I had written down his first name, and that's what he was going to get called.
Yeah. But it's good, and again, it was actually perfect. It's coming up to a busy schedule. You've got some players back from injuries. You've got some hungry youth talent that want to showcase what they can do. We've still got two more youth talents that are slowly coming back in Alvarez and Braybook, which lots of fans and lots of people here on this channel that comment every week speak highly of. And we've noted their performances until they both got injured last season, Chris. So we've got a hungry bunch of players from fringe players, youth players, squad rotation players and starters. And this is the perfect period in a way. You know, some people dread it. Leicester might actually be rubbing their hands at the idea that they've got lots of games coming up because it means they're going to see players get game time, and these players are going to, well, if they play half as well as Daka did in his first appearance this season. I know he came on against Sunderland for a minute, but his first proper appearance, if you will, and they take it like that, then count your chickens, mate. Because if they're going to play like that when they give them 1 or 2 games, how are they going to play if they break in and get a run in the team?
And we saw with Enzo, didn't we? There's a little bit of an echo coming, so I'm just going to start muting you.
Okay.
So, well, if you want to mute yourself, and then you know what you're doing. And it's like at the start of the season, we thought, well, we're going to see a lot of changes. You know, I thought we might see 60 minutes here, but we literally were seeing changes in the matches. And say somebody would play 60 minutes, and whoever played 30 would play the 60 in the next game. And then we kind of went through a settled period where we could predict what the team was going to be in advance. But now, and I think it's probably because of the fixture list that's coming up, we've got this big squad. We've got 25-man squad, and we haven't just got sometimes when let's say if we'd drawn, I don't know, Stockport County away in the FA Cup, we might have been tempted to put a B team out. And we've always struggled when we've done that because we've never really had a strong B team. Now I feel we have, Brad, and I feel like this is, we've got these 25 men. Yes, bloody well use them. We're paying the wages.
Yeah, and you might also get the most out of them whilst they're here. And again, this isn't a disrespect to the Championship by any means necessary, but you have to take it as it is. And I'm sure if you were to ask any diehard fan of the Championship, where would you rather be? Would you rather still be in the Championship or get to the Premier League? You'd probably say the Premier League. I can't imagine many teams that have been diehard fans of long-term Championship clubs would say, oh, no, we're happy in the Championship. Maybe if they said VAR, where would you rather be? I'd vote Championship all day long. But in terms of where you want to cut your trade, and it gets difficult in the Premiership to give these players these opportunities. And with the greatest of respect, the mass amount of games you get to play in the Championship, a 46-game season. I mean, when we play the FA Cup game, we'll actually play 50 games this season, even if we lose to Millwall in the third round, because we had three Carabao Cup ties and the FA Cup. So 50-game season essentially for Leicester on the cards here. There is a certain opportunity where a good cluster of games and an FA Cup allows you to not only play players like Pratt, but play your Nelsons, play your Will Alvarez's, play your Braybooks, and they're not so cold, Chris, because I think where teams have their upsets in the Cup, you remember Newport County? I mean, I know. But I remember 2 players from that game, and I'm sorry to point out one of them because I love him, but he hadn't I don't think he kicked a ball for us that season. One was Mark Albrighton, and the other one was false advertising. I mean, Rashid Gazelle, because he wasn't a gazelle, he was a bloody emu in a headlight suit. but they hadn't kicked a ball for us.
He had his head in the sand.
He did, but neither of them two wingers, and there is probably more. I think Vicente Diabate is another one that you like to bring up, Chris.
Yeah.
You know, they hadn't kicked a ball for us, and they looked horrid when they played in that game. We were horrible when we played in that game because we played a load of players that hadn't played or hadn't been able to get in the team. And I feel like now, Chris, if Enzo's going to continue this trait of rotation and giving players chance over this busy period, if we do play Millwall and we see a lineup where it's Stolarczyk, it's Daka, it's Sutar, it's Alvarez, etc., I'm going to be quite confident that they'll get the job done because I've seen them do it in the league.
And they've had game time. They're not just being thrown in cold.
Exactly, that's what I mean. They'll have minutes under the belt. They'll be up and running with the system. They've not been... they've not sat there going, well, I haven't kicked a ball in 8 months, and now you're telling me go out there and earn a spot by beating Millwall in the cup. They might have come on for 20 minutes against Ipswich. They might have started the game against Birmingham. They might score a goal against Cardiff. If this is what he's going to do throughout this busy period, Chris, you're asking me which division the winter period can benefit for sides. It's being able to use the entirety of your 25-man squad over the Christmas period for me.
Right, well, let's get into the match. I thought that for me, obviously I thought for me, it's a double thing there, that Plymouth actually started reasonably well. I think the first sort of 10 minutes, they had a couple of chances. But then the penalty, it was a penalty, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a blatant penalty. It was an obvious one. You just leave a leg out like that. I mean, you could be Stevie Wonder and he would have seen that happening because he just left his leg there. And all right, every team when the penalty is given against them tries to put up a bit of a defence, but I think they knew that it was like desperation because when's a referee, unless he's been told by a computer screen, ever change his mind, Chris? Yeah. So I don't know why they do it in this division because they don't have the stress of VAR checking 700 things for 10 minutes. But it was an obvious penalty. He left his leg there, and whether you like the fact that he's kind of seen that and gone over, some people don't like to see it in football. What's he supposed to do?
Yes.
What's he supposed to do? Not avoid it and waste a chance? No, he does what anybody's going to do in that situation.
Mavididi won the penalty. Mavididi took the penalty. That was a surprise for me. Thank God it went in. Otherwise, I think he might have got some brickbats. For me, I always think strikers should be taking penalties. But look, he's an attacking winger, so fair play to him. He wanted to take it, and I mean that's a huge thing when it comes to penalties. Actually, wanted to take it because I think that's half the battle. And at the end of the day, again, could have, would have, should have. Saved it, but he didn't. I think it was that he hit it that hard. It was placed, but he hit it that hard. I think he got his hand to it, but he couldn't stop it going in.
Yeah, people say it wasn't the greatest penalties. I actually think it was. It was in the corner. It was hit with accuracy and power, and ultimately that's what, like, you literally hit the nail on the head, Chris. That's the reason the keeper didn't keep out of the net. You know what I'm like being a goalkeeper? I always get pessimistic when we take it. I know, never mentioned before on this channel. I know, former goalkeeper, breaking news at LTID TV.
For all the new subscribers.
Yeah, for all the new subscribers, tell it 100 times. You're telling it once to somebody. You're always telling it once. But yeah, I sat here. Obviously, I had a bit of an issue streaming, so I was listening to it, and I went, he'll get a hand to this keeper. I don't know if he'll save it, but he'll get a hand to it. It's like I saw it. It's like a sidekick. You want to take the lottery with numbers when it comes to penalty for me because I'm quite good at predicting it. And it was well struck. It was right in that corner. The keeper, actually, you've got to give him credit for getting anywhere near it, to be honest with you, with how well placed the penalty was. Yeah. Because he told him where he was going. Right? And that may be a show that I do later on when we analyse parts of the game later on in the year. Sorry, Chris. See you tampering around with your Christmas toys there, it looks like, or trying to sneakily open a can of beer. I don't know what you're doing. But yeah, he gave him the eyes. He did look in that corner, so the keeper had all the advantages Mavididi could try and give him, but it was a good penalty. And I don't know about you, Chris. I don't know if I'm reading your notes from here when I say this, but that really turned the game on its head. I think Leicester ran the game for the majority of that remaining half.
Yes. I think a good penalty is a penalty that goes in. I don't care how it goes in. If it goes in, it's a good penalty as far as I'm concerned. Look, Plymouth had the chances. They didn't take it. We had one of their players that was through on Hermansen. He had the whole goal to shoot at. Hermansen just stood up strong and he made the wrong decision. Daka, start of the second half, got the first of the goals, assisted by Fatawu. I mean, he did what we want him and Vardy to do because we know Coles isn't that sort of player. Was that there was the break on, and my God, we know how fast Daka is, but he was up there. He had the whole goal to shoot at. The goalkeeper was in front of him, like you just said. Then with the penalty, gave him the eye, shoot it the other way, and 2-0. Welcome back, Patson.
Yeah, it was, and again, this is why I actually like the fact that I'm so intrigued by watching anything like interviews and all that from the players, because we've just talked about how, you know, Leicester over the years, when they've tried to use reserve players or fringe players for a game, it feels like 11 strangers are on the pitch. Patson Daka, Leicester City put it up on their shorts, reviewing his goal, and that goal came about by a half-time changing room talk, but not by Enzo, between Fatawu, Daka and Ahmadson. Daka came out and said, if he goes long with it, you run with me because I know where you're going to be, and I'll get the ball. You just get to wait. Yeah, it's a great minds think alike, Chris. If we've been working together too long, but he did, didn't he, Chris?
Well, like them women that work together, the periods merge.
I know, right? I know. But he did, didn't he, Chris? He said, Fatu said to me, you run, I'll do the donkey work, you get where you need to be, I'll find you with the ball. And that's exactly where his goal came from.
Yeah, no, and that's what you want, isn't it? You know, you want the players, yes, the manager's there and he's going to pick, out what you need to do generally, but you need the players to have that sort of relationship and talk. And fair play to Fatawu, two assists. But to say that to Daka, brilliant. If we don't sign that guy, there's something bloody wrong, I'll tell you. And then literally, there was sort of we had a goal every 2 minutes. It felt like 6 minutes in the second half, 3 goals. Fatawu pops up again, but this time sets up Steffi Mavididi again doing a Wolf's best impression with his twinkle toes and managed to get it through 3 defenders and the goalkeeper.
Yeah, I mean, when you're on form and you're firing all cylinders, you're on form and firing all cylinders, Chris. Everything that Leicester touched in that second half felt like it was turning to gold. Yeah. I don't know who this Wilfred Ndidi is, because I thought we'd gone back in time and got prime Ronaldinho in our midfield, because he's attacking, striking wonder, masterclass. His silky feet, he crosses the ball. Yeah, granted, he gets which is credit to the job that Winks or Chowdhury or whoever's in that position and Dewsbury Hall do. They the way they're instructed to play and the way they kind of they're the feeders, if you will. They kind of help the defence out to feed the wide men, and they feed the front men if it's available to them. So they complement each other. They're like a well put together plate of food, aren't they? Every ingredient in that team complements each other and benefits what they're asked to do.
I'm going to get a noise that I play every time you use a metaphor. Good plate of food. Aye.
I just like to be creative with what I say, Chris. Sometimes, why be the same as everybody else when I can just be creative, Exactly. But yeah, it works. It's working wonders for him, and he's getting the best out of every player. Who knew indeed he could attack the ball?
Oh well,
if only other managers saw that. Indeed he did.
And then, not satisfied with coming on and scoring a goal, Patson Daka thinks he's going to be, prime Peter Beardsley to Gary Lineker. He then sets up Wilf. Now, Wilf had missed a sitter earlier, and you could have argued, as some of the pundits did, as to why Fatawu didn't score. Didn't shoot. I don't think they'd have said that if Wilf had got his foot on it, but it was very much that was prime Gascoigne from the Euros '96 when he slid it. I mean, he literally. I don't know how he didn't get that. That's going to be one of the mysteries. But Patson Daka sets up indeed. Now, if you remember when I said earlier about the Liverpool game in the Carabao Cup, you hit the post, it goes one way or the other. Wilf gets it, has a shot. That's not going in. There's no way was I, normally, because sometimes as soon as the ball leaves the player's boot, you're literally up. That wasn't for that one. I didn't think that was going anywhere. I thought, why isn't anybody running up and trying to get on the end of it? Hits the post, goes in, 55 minutes, 4-0, game over.
Yeah, when a goal goes in like that, it just feels a little bit more. It's a bit gorgeous to watch, isn't it? Like you hear that sound of it hit the post, you think, "Oh, what a finish inside of the post! What a goal!" And it was quality. And and obviously we talk about pre-arrested Ronaldinho, not today's Ronaldinho, but Gordon Bennett, he's learning how to use his feet for silky dancing, crossing and scoring. I mean, Mo Salah would have been proud of that sort of finish. That's the sort of goal he takes pride on, and he's a bloody striker or a winger or wherever Jurgen wants to play him. Yeah. So the fact that you've got your midfielder scoring a goal like that, and I was like you, Chris. Obviously, I listened to it, but I watched the replay, and I didn't remember him hitting the post of it. So I'm watching this extended highlights. I'm thinking, hold on, this can't be Ndidi goal, is it? Straight away, because obviously we scored so quickly.
Yeah,
and I was like, you was like. Oh, this is going to be that missed chance we had. I'm sure we had one. And no, it's supposed to go in. You think, oh, what a finish. You've picked that up perfectly. It was a wonderful goal.
Fine margins. That's what it's about, isn't it?
It certainly is, mate. And again, Daka must be so happy with his own performances. If he's gone, well, there you go, Gaffer. You asked me to come on and give you a headache. I've got to give you one now with a goal and an assist.
Exactly. You couldn't ask anything more of him. But I know you remember this game because you brought it up a few weeks ago. It was a certain game when it was an early kickoff and we were playing Derby County, it was a late kickoff. It was either early or late, but we were on the telly. We were 4-0 up. In fact, Chris Powell was who went on to be a future Leicester coach, was in the Derby defence that day.
And Spencer Pryor, who we sold to Derby.
Yes. And we went 4-0 up within, I think it was about 12 minutes or something in that first half. 4 goals, 4-headed goals. It was, and it was game over. And, it's all right. Sometimes that happens when you go on and win 9-0. But that was the game I quoted to my son when at 4-0 up against Southampton that wet Friday evening. I said, that's it now, game over. Just sit back and enjoy the rest of it. Of course, we went on and scored 9. But it was game over. And to me, it was that kind of feeling on Saturday.
Oh, my mute button wasn't unmuted. Yeah, it was. And I think it was different circumstances in each one. Leicester did that to Derby. And I still remember, I can't remember the exact timing of it, but I've watched that game on repeat, Chris. I love watching that Derby. I remember the commentators when I think it's Marshall scores the last one, and he goes, we haven't had 12 minutes and 14 seconds or whatever it is of the game, and some Derby fans have seen enough because there was like 2 or 3 of them going down the stairs.
Yeah.
And again, sometimes it's about the situation. You knew Derby were dead in the water. You're 4-0 up. I think it was it March time as well? So it was end of the season. Leicester had done the job. I think they'd mathematically got themselves safe with that win. Maybe it was April, maybe it was a bit early, I don't know. But I remember it being kind of a very bright a day, and I'm pretty sure that. So Leicester had kind of done the job. They beat Derby, didn't need to do it. Leicester against Southampton, we were just a savage team then. I think we'd beat Newcastle 5-0. We were beating teams 4 and 5-0 for fun. So we just went absolutely ruthless and showed no mercy that game. But yeah, because again, the situation was Leicester were playing with swagger. They were fighting to go top. They wanted to make a statement because we were at that point. We were in the top 2 or 3.
We went top. I think we went top after that. Okay?
We went top. So the 5,000 to 1.2.0 was on again, wasn't it? And we probably wanted to send some merciless swagger and a message to the Premier League. I mean, okay, we lost to Southampton reverse leg, but we don't talk about that. But this time it was different. Again, different circumstances. We're top. We're fairly comfortable in that in the automatic zone. They were done. We killed them off. If that second goal didn't kill them off, the other two definitely did. They had nothing left to them. They weren't going to offer anything. I think they made 3 changes straight away. He obviously went, well, take my players out of the firing range and you know, the opposite of Leicester, you guys can go and play with no pressure because I'm not expecting anything from you, sort of thing. And
8 minutes after those goals.
Yeah, so that told you where his mindset was, where their mindset was at. Rest their starting players, go again midweek, draw a line under it. This one's lost, and Leicester did the opposite, draw a line under it because it's won. And again, to be fair though, Chris, we still could have got 4, 5 or 6, couldn't we? I mean, I was cursing myself thinking I should have stuck with my 5-0 prediction. In the end, it didn't actually matter. But again, we got the points. The game was dead. Why risk injury by going gun-ho for another 30 minutes?
Especially what we didn't have in the Premier League was, you know, Saturday, Wednesday, which is what we've got in the Championship. You know, you haven't really. It's almost like tournament football this month because you know the games are coming so often. But you know, we made changes. You know, we first changes on the 63rd minute. Who knew? Mavididi and Daka off, Albrighton and Cannon on. Stefan Mavididi, why, when you're on 2 goals and you've got a striker who's hungry, why not leave him on and try and get his hat trick? Because we're 4-0 up. Does it matter if he tries to think I'm on a hat trick here? I'm going to try a few things and they don't come off and he doesn't. But I can never understand why managers take players off when they've got 2 goals and there's a possible hat trick because they want those hat tricks.
Yeah, I'm sure he was a little bit disappointed to come off and get his hat trick, but there's the old cliche of there's no I in team. And again, would we be moaning had he kept him on? Would we sat here and he got injured? He pulled his hamstring. You know, not saying that Mark Albrighton or McAteer, who we've seen play on that side, wouldn't do a good enough job for us. I'm sure they would. But we'd be sat here going, oh, I know he needed 1 goal for his hat trick, but you shouldn't have played him. He got injured trying to go for it. If we'd have taken him off, now we've got to hope Mark Albrighton, you know. So it's potato. It's if, ands, and buts. We don't know how it could have gone. And again, the game was won. It wasn't like his 2 goals and it was 2-1. If it was 2-1 or still 2-0, I would have argued and agreed with you that we should have kept him on. But when it's 4-0, why risk him running himself into an injury and have him fit and ready to go and eat an extra fresh, if you will, for Wednesday? I'd rather that than him get a hat trick and get injured, or go for the hat trick.
I hate to say it, but of course you're right.
Handsome and wise, they say.
Albrighton, last season with us, surely, isn't it?
Sadly, yeah.
Not that he did anything wrong when he came on.
No. And to be fair, he's already proven on his loan last season. At least definitely got the capabilities to go and do what Andy King's doing and Matty James, and that's go and play in a Championship for a couple of seasons. Hey, who knows? Maybe someone will hire. Maybe Stoke will hire Nigel Pearson, and he'll bring the band back together with Albrighton, Matty James, and Andy King next season. Who knows? But I love Mark to pieces. Oh, Kevin. Jamie Vardy's obviously going to be a little bit sad, because obviously he loves giving him some stick. But yeah, unfortunately, unless he's going to be happy being a third choice player, which he wasn't last season, which is why we sent him out on loan. I think, unfortunately, I said this about Leicester's good times, Chris, and I'll say it about players as well. Make the most of him when he plays this season and enjoy what he offers and brings to us, because he could possibly decide to hang up his boots at the end of the season. I would not be surprised if Leicester were to win the Championship, because players can get a bit soap opera, can't they, Chris? He might just go, you know what? I've won a Championship title with this club. I've won a Premier League title now with this club. I'm going to hang my boots up I'm going to walk off into the sunshine and call my career a day. I don't know. It depends how he's feeling.
Yes, it does. Totally does. And of course, we don't have testimonials anymore, do we? But then again, you could argue that they get paid enough anyway. But it'd be good for charity. We saw nice to see Pratt back on. Didn't do anything wrong. He was there. He didn't get injured, so it was the first 20 odd minutes he played. Cassidy always comes on, so that was no surprise. Nice to see Ben Nelson, the youngster, getting some time. He's obviously just signed a new contract, keeping you up there, Brad. Sorry, mate. Talk to me about. I owed you that one. Talk to me about Cannon. He wasn't loose, was he?
No, he wasn't. And look, he didn't do. I know. I tried to glaze over it. No, at the end of the day, obviously, I'll say it more in the ratings. I won't give too much away. Did okay. Came on, looked hungry, showed us some glimpses of what potentially we've paid £7 million for. From Everton. And look, again, I know we're going to talk about them, so again, I won't say too much. With potentials of what could happen to the squad, either in January or in summer, it's good to at least get a little bit of light into what. Let's shine on him and see what he can do. And no, you can't. And again, Millwall coming up, he's obviously going to be on the bench or maybe getting his start there.
Yeah. We're going to run through these next couple of slides, but just to nod on if you agree. But the strengths for Leicester, we were effective at creating goal-scoring opportunities from through balls. Very, very true. We were strong at finishing. I think at 4-0, you've got to say, no shit, Sherlock. Weaknesses, no team has no significant weaknesses. That's the second week running. That's good. The styles, we attacked through the middle. We dominated possession, favoured through balls. And it's funny there because Plymouth, it says favoured long shots. And, of course, our second goal came from a good old up and under from the goalkeeper after everything that we've been saying. Right, so here's the... let me just make that a little bit smaller so I can see it. No, that's still too big. Let me just take it down one more. Here we go. So, attempts. We had 13. Now, Plymouth actually had more, and I did say at the start, credit to Plymouth, that they didn't capitulate when they were 1-0 down, and they certainly, and in fairness, it's what the guy from Plymouth Argyle said when he came on the preview show, that they wouldn't just sit and park the bus. And I have to say, they didn't, okay, at 4-0 down, there's no work. But there was, in that first half, I think they had the strongest start. They had 15. 11 of ours came from open play. 2/3 of theirs came from set pieces, though. But 13 shots, 4 goals, 30% conversion rate. That's not bad for the for the championship, I don't think. It might have helped if I'd put the you could have told me and I could have put the right graphic up, but I'll put it up now so you can just quickly catch up. He does like dropping me in it, Brad, I'll tell you, he really does. Never going to go on I'm a Celebrity with him. Right, passes. There we go. I think now I do put this up every week, but yeah, okay. So we had 638 passes compared to their 335. 630 of those were between Manson and his defenders. So I tend to I looked at one and it was Vestergaard winks, Vestergaard winks, Vestergaard. Literally, that was the movement of play. But look, we got 14 crosses in, put 5 through balls in, 50 long balls, surprising. But there we go, 567 short passes. That's how they break it down. And you can see their total passes. We had a lot more. Right. Yeah, I've got pass summary up. I'm impressed myself here. Positional report. Thank you. Positional report. I always find this one interesting. I need to make it big again, as the actress said to the Archbishop. There we go. Attacking sides. Now, to me, Brad, I'll let you come in on this one. To me, that, and don't I just say that Leicester in the orange because we are the home side. So I know it's blue. I wish they'd pick another colour, but Leicester are orange. Think of our third strip. But look at that. Attack sides, 30% left, 31% midfield, middle, and 39% on the right. That is what I want to see from a team. No dominance or reliance on one side.
Yeah, it's such a refreshing sight to see from the last, from our Premier League days, the last 2 seasons in Premier League, where, and I still say it, I know he was Craig's favourite person. I know Craig loved him to bits, never criticised him. Harvey Barnes, who was unfairly given criticism, in all fairness, all joking aside, because he was doubled up on, because we looked at this graph back then, Chris, and it was 80% down the left side, 10% down the middle, and accidentally the ball went out of play from a goal kick on the right. We never bothered with it. So to see the fact that, and when you attack in such a, that is basically 33.33, that's splitting it 3 ways for what it's worth. I know it's saying the odd percent here or there in one direction more than the other, but that is what you want to see, because not only does it show you that we're
in one direction.
No, not going down that. I only sing when I want to embarrass myself. No, but it doesn't just show how good we are at passing the ball and keeping hold of it across the pitch. That can be difficult when teams press you, like Plymouth tried to press us. But it shows you that the opposition just don't know where Leicester are going to attack. Will this attack be down the middle? Will it be down the left? Will they go down the right? They got it on the right. Oh no, they've crossed it over. We're always keeping their opposition second guessing, and when you're doing that, you're going to control and dictate the way the game plays out, in my opinion. And that's what I like to see from how we line up and how we pass the ball around and go about it. Nice, even percentage, left, right, and centre.
I must admit, looking at that, when you're looking at the shot directions, I was just thinking about that then, saying, like, we've had all that, attacking down, is very much evenly shared. And then we only have 8% of the shots on the left-hand side. But then again, Mavididi likes to cut inside, doesn't he? He doesn't like to take shots from the outside. And I think his goal came from down the centre, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. His goal did come from down the centre, but that's what the luxury of the hard work. Pass it around, working it down either side, kind of like a saw shimmying up through like a bit of wood, isn't it? It's slowly doing the hard work to get through it, and then when you're there, it's up to you which way you want to go about it. And we create that space, we open up that gap, so Fatu can have it on his favoured side and his favourite foot, so he can shoot if he gets in good space. We go down the middle, which is a strong way to go, because our wingers, like you said, Mavididi likes to cut in, Fatu and McAteer like to drive into the box. Obviously, we play with one lone striker, so he's going to be central. And that's before you talk about Ronaldinho and Kieran Dewsbury Hall in the midfield with Harry Winks. Pushing forward as well. So that's the luxury you get, that you kind of, as when you're in that attacking third, you do all that hard work, breaking a team down and passing the ball around them and breaking their lines of defence, that you can kind of give it to a Mavididi or a Fatawu or a Ronaldinho or a Daka, and you can tell them, okay, where do you want to be for you to have your chance at goal? And they go, oh, well, I'm going to go down the middle because I prefer that. Thanks very much, lads. Well done for all that hard work. I'll finish it off. And this is what brings us the wins, Chris. And I'm going to keep calling him Ronaldinho until someone corrects me, because I can't believe we've got Ndidi. I think we've body swapped them. We've gone back in time with Ronaldinho at Barcelona and just put him in Ndidi's body.
Yeah. There, just to quickly look at it, not going to go through this in any great detail, but you've got the shot zones there. Good to see that, we're only 53% of Plymouth shots were long attempts from outside the box, and can be a little bit desperate. Yes, you can get the odd super goal, Harry Winks, Yuri Tielemans in the FA Cup final, but I prefer our side, which is 15% only, 69%, biggest percentage by far from inside the penalty box. But interesting there, like I say, credit to Plymouth that they never gave up going for it. only 28% in the away end for the action zones. But we are going to be now talking about a certain player that was brought on. Wasn't brought on. He was brought on at the start because he was in the starting lineup, brought in from the cold, as they say. And we'll be getting Brad's tactical analysis straight after this.
The TalkSport Fan Network is the ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts,
including Leicester Till I Die, independent analysis and reaction for the Foxes faithful.
The TalkSport Fan Network.
Unbeatable club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Follow the podcast on the TalkSport Fan Network.
So, Brad, I always find this interesting. The heat map, because you can see sort of how good we were, where we were good. I mean, excuse me, hardly any of the. I think if you only actually go in under the nets and inside the actual net area itself is the only area we didn't cover.
Yeah, and again, credit to the Enzo way. Look, I've criticised it rightly. I felt I was a bit dramatic, but I criticised it. I felt rightly, and I think, given how we played in certain games, we all did, didn't we? But it shows that when everybody's firing on all cylinders, because I did also say in my little rant that the players do have to take their share of responsibility. But to see a heat map like that, the only thing they were avoiding, Chris, it looked like was like you say, was the stands. So they were absolutely everywhere, and it just shows. Sometimes I know it's not everybody's cup of tea the way we kind of go about it at times. I'm sure when we're winning games like we did against Plymouth yesterday, it's easy to kind of forgive them. I know we aren't all big on the passy, sideways, backwards, tippy-tappy football, but by God, hard work didn't half pay off yesterday for it, and that's when you kind of respect it a bit.
I wonder if Boris was bored yesterday.
Oh, I bet he was crying into his sexism biscuits that he probably eats.
768 touches to 483 for Plymouth. If you're not touching the ball, you've not got the ball, you're not going to score, are you?
Exactly, Michael Owen. You've hit the nail on the head there with the Captain Obvious statement. But you're true. You're true what you're saying. If people can say what they like about it. I've said this. I had an argument back in the day with West Ham fans when Sam Allardyce played long ball and got them into Europe through, I think it was either the financial the fair play league, or he got them in actually the European position. And I said to West Ham fans, what would you rather see then? You're moaning about him getting you into Europe, so you'd rather get relegated by playing fancy football and getting battered every week. Well, we tried that. Funny enough, we got battered every week, and go down. And back then they were like, yeah, rather have that than this boring on ball. Give me Enzo football any day of the week. I know it's different; it's not Allardyce football, but you know what I mean. I'd rather see us spend 55 minutes, 60 minutes wearing a team down and then blitzing 4 goals in that, in the space of 5-10 minutes, like we did against Plymouth, or winning the game 2-0 and not consider. Look, Chris, there's another thing we need to touch on. We haven't even mentioned it, and I know it's probably because we mention it every week. 20 games. I would love to know if there's some weird, unique stats to this, but 20 games into a season, and Leicester have failed to concede more than 1 goal. Has any team ever done that? Has any team ever gone 20 games and still not conceded more than 1 goal a game? Because that shows you how much hard work it is to get the ball off Leicester, let alone score a goal.
To be honest with you, you're making me think now. Not the other static, because I've got no idea. But have we not conceded 2 in any game?
Apart from Liverpool in the cup,
yeah,
we have not conceded. We've not conceded more than a goal a game.
Well, that is something. And maybe it's because we're getting our forward players to play deep. And I'm sorry, look, we've said about Vardy having to come deep. We've said about Iheanacho playing deep. It is releasing Ndidi to go forward more. They're not scoring because they are playing deep. The problem is Vardy's getting on a little bit, can't always turn his speed into getting, so he's turning it into attack. Kelechi, and I love Kelechi, but he's not the fastest player. Daka is. And I thought I'd put this one up. Now, this isn't probably going to look up, and I do get annoyed that they're doing blue onto a black background here. I'm sure there's something they could do with the colours, but I can't really argue what's the score when I'm actually pinching things. But do check out the website. What's the score? It's a really good website. That's Kells. He had 30 touches, and look where his heat map is. It's just in front of our own. His hottest. It's in front of our own. Penalty box. But as you look at that, it's all down the centre, and there's a hell of a lot in their box as well.
Yeah. Again, and you probably find that if you looked at the attacking trio, if you will, or at least the central attacking players, Ronaldinho's and Dewsbury Hall's, they're probably not too dissimilar, Chris, because that's how a team plays as a team. They work in tandem. They all help out in the other direction. If you're all coming back and not ridiculously deep, it's not by any stretch of the imagination am I saying it's desperate defender, because as you can see that he's probably his main area. He's like that loaded spring, isn't he? He's just waiting for the opportunity to go, okay, they've got 8, 9 players in and around our box. If you can give me the ball, we saw what happened at West Brom. That's what they're waiting for, Chris. They're using that acceleration that they've got. Hi, Melina. Hope you're well. They've got that acceleration in the squad and the powerhouse to just drive through a team. And they have done that, Chris, haven't they? They didn't just do it Saturday. They didn't just do it against West Brom. But when we've seen them firing on all cylinders, and we've seen it a few times, maybe not got the same scoreline, but they have just blitzed past the midfield or 2 or 3 hanging back defenders. They might as well have not been there for what it's worth.
I just want to say hi to Miss Melina. I know she's not very well at the moment. She's full of a cold. Could be worse, Mel. You could have man flu. That's a killer. It really is. But lovely to see you again. I did pop onto her channel yesterday. It was before the score, before the games. Was it after the game? She wasn't crying too much anyway. But Melina, can I just say, because Melina always used to say, like she said, honourable Fox fan. She is the Fox fan from Canada here. Well, when you support Arsenal, I mean, just have a look at Anthony. You've always got to have a second team, haven't you? But no, joking aside, lovely to see you, Mel. Thanks for popping on. We'll have a chat later. And Melina always used to say to me about coming shopping at Leicester for the team. For Arsenal. Yes, Vardy didn't sign for you. Madison didn't sign for you. Despite all those photoshopped pictures that Arsenal fans did. Fatawu. No, not Fatawu. Mavadidi. You let him go. We signed him. So maybe next season, we'll see you next season, Mel, and maybe we'll buy 1 or 2 Arsenal players for you. But no, joking aside. But look, Brad, this is your moment.
Oh, it always is, isn't it? Right, Mike, am I staying on the small screen, or are you going to make a big screen? How much are you willing to embarrass me?
I can make you. I was going to say I can make you big, but maybe that sounds wrong. Whichever you prefer.
Well, obviously, as everybody knows, in the new year, when I've got my laptop, I'll be doing these in a lot more detail, and you'll be able to see it a bit better. But what I'm going to talk about today is a man that was left out of the cold, a man that we still don't know his future, where it lies. Is Patson Daka, or as I want to call it, the Daka difference. And we saw it in his goal. I think for the first half, Daka was played into a suit the style. He was told to do what Iheanacho and Vardy are asked to do in the game. And I'm not saying he did it bad. He didn't. He did it well. He played a few good passes. He ran his socks off, and he did what was asked of him. And it almost seemed like Enzo realised that wasn't working. Now, although Daka was doing a grand job of it, Daka is not one of them deep line forwards. We have seen it now. Okay, granted, he's not scored many goals in his time at Leicester, but when he does score goals, Chris always likes to bring up that night in Moscow where he scored 4. But the majority of his goals for Leicester this season have come from similar ways to the way Jamie Vardy used to get his goals. Get the ball to him as quick as possible, play it in front of him, he'll run onto the ball, let him do what he does best. And that's where Daka kind of got his goal from again. And in the second half, it's almost as if Enzo allowed for that. You know, a guy who had 1 minute, he'd had 1 minute of championship football this season, and he came on in the 89th minute against Sunderland. He kind of allowed him a reward for his efforts because, like I said, in the first half, we weren't playing to his strengths, but we played to the team's strength, which I think is vital. But in the second half, we did this thing which I thought was a forgotten myth in football. We went direct. We played to our strikers. We played to our striker strength for the majority of that second half, and that was great to see because it allowed Daka to kind of sit a little bit higher up, find himself a little bit isolated, go a little bit under the radar, if you will, which is what clever strikers like him do when they are all pace, which he is. He's not built. He's not built. He doesn't eat his Weetabix or his shredders. He's not the biggest fella. He's not the tallest fella, so you've got to give him the ball and watch his legs do all the running as he beats 3 defenders to the ball, which he's shown as he can do. And his reward for constantly sticking at everything he's been taught and trained on over these last three or 4 months since Enzo's arrived, whilst he's not been getting picked, sometimes not even making the bench, you know, he's not let that affect him. And his reward for his effort in the first half was rewarded in the second half because it was, okay, let's unleash Daka upon them now. They're going to expect us to keep being passy, nicey. If we get the opportunity, Hamadson, Vestergaard, you guys, if you see it, go for it. Send it long. Send it to Fatawu. Send it over the top to Mavididi. Send it straight down the line to Daka if you can. However you do it, let's make sure when we attack, we're attacking for Daka. We're attacking to our striker strengths because this is the guy that if you give him the ball in front of him, he'll run onto it and he'll beat anybody in a leg race. Usain Bolt would struggle to catch Daka, he runs so fast. This man right there, hey, I figured out how a camera works. And that man right there, great timing, Chris. He is a pace merchant. And yes, I like a striker to have more about them than just be a one-trick pony, if you will. But if a one-trick pony has a pace like that and scores the goals in the manner that he did yesterday and gets the assist as well, you just open up a whole different cans. Because here's the thing we did miss. Once Daka got his pace, got the long ball over to Fatu, ran into the middle, got the ball played to him and scored, Plymouth didn't know what to do because Leicester mixed it up. They were passing it around, so they dragged Plymouth out. And then just when Plymouth got to a certain point where they thought, okay, it's safe enough to close them down now because they're not going to play it long, they play a ball into Fatawu. And then they were turning around and chasing it. Patson Daka coming on and being the sort of striker, well, not coming on, starting the game and being allowed to play the sort of striker role that he is very well accustomed to, caused them chaos because Leicester had the freedom of the king power in attacking sense. Leicester had loads of room in the middle all of a sudden. They were finding themselves with acres of space. And instead of, Vestergaard putting his foot on the ball, which he usually does, he was rolling it into the middle for Dewsbury Hall to run onto, or Ronaldinho, a.k.a. Ndidi, to run onto. And instead of taking 30 passes to get into the final third, we were taking 3 passes. And look, maybe we'd all written him off, and maybe in January things still happen, and this is just a shop window job. But just hold your horses with Daka here. I know some of you lost faith, and some of you maybe put your hands up and went, "Okay, you've got my interest. I'm going to listen. I'm going to watch and see what he can offer us, and see if he gets a run in the team." Watch this space with Daka. Don't forget Tom Cannon either. We've still got to see what he can do, and hopefully Millwall will get a chance to see more of him. And then, but just watch this space. Patson Daka's time in a Leicester shirt might not be over just yet. We don't know what the Johnny Johnson window holds. We don't know what's happening with certain players yet. And if certain players go ahead of him, we might just have the answer. And that answer is Patson Daka. And that, Chris, is me summing up the performance and the Daka difference that we have just played witness to that beat Plymouth Argyle. That is my
The
tactic
Premier
on that.
League? That's so last season. It's all about the Championship here on LTID TV.
Now that's what I call football.
You hit the right spot.
Indeed. Thank you, Brad. Precise and detailed as always. Really love that section. I'm actually sat there going, I'm really taking it in. Thank you. Look forward when you get a New Year lappy, and apparently that is a computer, and you're not going to the local all men's club. That is surprising. We discussed this yesterday, in the post match, on our team performance. I gave 10. You gave 8. Alan gave 6.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Alan. I know you've only ever overruled him once on your man of the matches, and that was Vestergaard Southampton. Fair enough, he's your love child. I don't understand that. It'd be like Ian Nacho getting it against Man City for me. But a 6 when you've won 4-0. And yes, Plymouth had 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there in each half where they were a bit... thank you, Nate. Appreciate it. At least I know someone actually understands me and I'm not talking waffling rubbish. But a 6, Alan. I mean, did Jordan Blackwell pay him a tenner to give him a different rating or something? I don't know, but very, very harsh on him. But he sees the game from a different perspective to us. So, each individual has their own opinion. He allowed his opinion.
Yeah, he was there. We weren't. And oops, I think we
did it as you did it. Sorry. I'll mute it. Sorry, there was.
Stop blowing me kisses. What are you doing, Brad? Look, I've blown him away. Hey, bum. I'm here all week. I haven't overruled him because he is at the match, so he sees it completely different to how I see it. Or any of the other, whether we're listening via the radio or we're watching it on your legal streams. So I always stick with it, and that's why I've left it up there, because that's what he's given them. For me, it was a 10. 4-0, biggest win of the day. Kept a clean sheet. Scored 4 goals, did what we have to do, and a manager that got everything spot on yesterday as well. All in all, that he got a 10 from me. I know Kate and Luke gave the players a 9, and Brad gave an 8. But there we go. And Luca, thank you, sir. Luca, we've got an Arsenal massive in today. He said it's a 10. I appreciate that, mate. Brad, I'm going to change my man of the match, and I'll tell you for why. But this is who, for once, not going for Winks. And I've got to say, he does seem to go for Winks every week. But then again, Winks is an amazing player and has deserved it virtually every time he puts on the shirt. And he had a great game yesterday. He's all over. He's like that joyous old bloody bunny. I'm sure after the game, he goes and sits on the toilets and proves out batteries. He gave it to Hamza Chowdhury, who I originally went for. I've got to be honest with you. I think he did well. He marshalled the defence well. He was captain. Nothing got past him. He did what he had to do. But yeah, no, I am going to stick with it. But I kind of, my second choice, having looked at the stats and having looked at the highlights, I probably got to agree with you and Kate, because you both went for Fatawu.
Bloody mute button, didn't want to unmute. Yeah. Sorry, I'll keep pressing the buttons. I don't press the camera button. I'll do that at the next break. I'll come back on camera because I don't press anything in case it doesn't work again. Yeah, for me, Fatawu, what's that expression you always see people saying these days on Twitter and stuff like that? They usually post when it's a lone player. Don't fall in love with a lone player because they always break your heart because they go back to the club and then they don't want to move or they suddenly want money. Oh, but I do. Fatu is amazing. He's Premiership quality. Yeah, I said it. You can time me quite it. Fatu is going to tear the Premier League a new one if he gets up there with us, and we need to sign him. I don't know when he hits the 66% mark or whatever it is he has to do to meet these loan conditions. But as soon as he's done it, can we cancel his loan and pay the fee and get him in permanently? Because I want him at the club. He was phenomenal. He was so hard working, this man. He runs his socks off. And you know what? I don't mind it sometimes when a winger gets frustrated. I know we said a few times about Fatwood, but this man never, ever seems to let it bother him. And I remember against Watford, Jamie Vardy missed a sitter beforehand. And I don't know if you noticed it, Chris. I don't think we actually picked up on it in the post-match. But the one player who went up to Jamie Vardy, got down to his level, patted him on the back and picked him up was that man right there. He is a gentleman. And I watch, as you know, Chris, I watch all the shots and that. When they see the players coming off after a win or the down the tunnels or coming into the change rooms, he's always there in front of the camera, pumping both fists in the air, going, come on. And I love to see that attitude by a player. And I just think he's so wholesome and so raring to go. And if it's true that he's already come out and said he wants to make this move permanent, what was it Rio Ferdinand said about Ollie? Give him the contract. Give him 5 years. Pay whatever he wants. Bring him into the club because I'm starting to fall in love with a lone player, Chris. I know you shouldn't do that, but I am. He's wonderful talent.
I can't argue with that. And I think the loan agreement is the fact that if we get promoted... Oh, let me just mute you.
Yeah, sorry.
If we get promoted... we have to buy him. 16 million? Jesus, what? Yes. Look, man, I loved you, but if not getting you means we get Abdul there, then, oh, God, thank you. I was a bit worried that if we don't go up, will we still try and buy him? The problem we're going to have with that for me is we're going to get a lot of players in that are... there's going to be a lot of Premier League teams, I think, interested in him. Bottom half, lower league teams. The fact that he's come out and said he wants to carry on this journey with Leicester, okay, it's probably not worth the sort of paper that he wrote it down on, but it just gives us hope, doesn't it? And as we always know, it is the hope that kills us. Right, just before we move on to Brad's ratings, I just want to tell you it is B&Q time. If you're not, Tuesday afternoon, check out bbc.com. Come back, Brad. bbc.com/LCFC, which is the Leicester City page on the BBC website, where every Tuesday afternoon they put up the Fans Voice blog. It's me. In case you didn't know, it's me. So get off there, and I'm sure I'm going to have. It's me. Yes, it's me. You may learn something. You may think I speak a load of bollocks. Most people do, but I can only use so many words, so I've got to keep it succinct. But no, have a read. See what we do. It can't be a match report. I'm not allowed to do that. But there may be a certain mention of a certain player like that one, or on that one, or even Daka Do. Right, what we're going to do, Brad, is we're going to do the player ratings now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go off screen. I'm going to put you up there. You talk it through, and then what I'll do is when I'm ready to move on, I'll change the thing so you can then end one and start the other. Does that work for you?
That works for me, mate. Let's get cracking, as I say.
No Jordan this week. You're all on your own, mate.
Oh, brilliant. I couldn't have it. Right. So we're starting with the player ratings. Who's up first then, Chris? So we've got the manager, Enzo Maresca. You know what? He must watch this show, Chris, because he must have sat there like a scolded child after the Sheffield Wednesday thrashing I gave him in my verbal entourage and his tactics or lack of. Absolutely fantastic. I said this on the post-match, and I'm going to voice some words again now for those that didn't hear him. He had the perfect scenario play out for him, and it's all thanks to his tactics, his shrewdness, and his ability to read the game situation. Could he have kept Mavididi on for a hat-trick? Yeah. Could Mavididi have played 90 minutes and then came off with a calf injury and been missing for a month? Also, yes. He made every decision he made. He had the golden Midas touch. He was fantastic. His decision making, his substitute making, and if nothing else, Chris, seeing someone be so energetic on the sidelines and so brought into the system since the second he walked through the doors at Leicester, I completely understand why he was picked above everybody else who was interested in the Leicester job, because this man just feels like he lives and breathes Leicester already, and he's only been here 4 months, Chris. Got everything spot on from starting lineup to substitutions, and yeah, a perfect managerial performance for me. Not just the result, a 10 out of 10 for me. Spot on, Enzo. Well done. Fantastic job as the manager. Did it really well. So, Chris, if you're ready, I can't sing any more praises to him.
No. Sorry about that. I was just going to say, I don't know. You obviously can't hear me when I'm not when I'm in the background. I thought you still could. I don't know why, but you're saying that, and I'm nodding away, and I'm not even on the screen. You can't see me agreeing with you. Here we go.
Brilliant. Well, yeah, there you go. 10 out of 10 for me for Enzo Maresca. Got everything spot on from his decision making, from starting 11 to substitutes to seeing out the end of the game. Hamadson wasn't the best against West Brom, but put in a performance of note. Again, nice to know. A luxury as a keeper, very, very unheard of, but he didn't have much to do. But what he did well. You could say, okay, the quality of Plymouth's attack wasn't brilliant, and some of the shots were, but you can only play and stop what's in front of you, and he did that with some comfort at his ease. His distribution was better. He was a lot smarter on the ball. And thanks to a very solid all-round performance, minus 10 minutes here or there in both halves, he had a very solid game. Safe hands. We finally got a Danish keeper who can kick the ball and keep it in play. Sorry, Kasper. You know I still love you. But a solid 8 out of 10 for me, Chris. That one was. Yeah, did his job. James Justin. One man's fortune is another man's game with Doyle. Long-term injury. He's grabbed the ball by the horns as he is, and he's not let us down. He's never let us down, really, Justin. You may be able to think of 1 or 2 performances where he's not had his greatest game, but his recovery rate is fantastic. And he is, like a lot of these players, they feel like they've been playing together for 6 or 7 years, let alone 20 weeks together. Well, it's not even 20 weeks, is it? It's 20 games together with the midweeks. But you know what I mean? He is loving life back in the squad. He hasn't missed a beat since his return from that awful injury he suffered a while ago. Another solid performance. Always had his defensive partners' backs. Helped out in the attack. Was right up there as well when he needed to be. Reads the game brilliantly. Another solid 8 out of 10 for me, Chris. Another great performance by James Justin there. Your love child, Chris, had a scary moment. Probably the only scary moment that the entire back four had, and it was just happened to be Yannick that had it. But again, ever reliable. I was not his biggest fan. Born again. I'm a fan of his again. Brought out the cold, and sometimes the players we don't like or don't take to that well or think are useless, they get a run in the side and they prove us wrong. And this man's been doing that since the Coventry game, first game of the season. He's been proving a lot of people wrong, and he's won a lot of fans over. Solid with his performance again, picked out some good passes, was unlucky not to get a goal again. I mean, he could have 4 or 5 goals this season if they'd gone the other side of the goalkeeper. But he's been vital in both boxes in that sense. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but he gives me Robert Who vibes when he's attacking and defending boxes. Always seems to be able to get his head onto the ball now. He is a lamppost that can actually jump. A bit boring, but another solid 8 out of 10. for his performance at the back. Wout phase. If you to the Belgian manager, if you're seriously going to stand by the words you said to him or allegedly said to him, it was paper talk that said it, that he needed to move clubs to get into your Belgian squad, then you don't know your arse from your elbow, mate. Fantastic performance. Long gone are the haunting memories of that horrible game against Liverpool and that horrible debut against Tottenham we had where we lost 6-1 or 6-2, whatever it was. This guy has got better and better with each game he plays. He is a great voice and he shouts at players. He doesn't scold them, but he riles them. He kind of goes, come on, think a little bit. Come on, use this. I know you can do it. You've got it. And he's there. He's slamming his hand on the back, patting for a job well done. He's cheering at the crowd. He's like, yes, we've won a throw and we stopped them attacking. Come on, well done, mate. Well done, you. He's urging them and he's encouraging them. He is a potential centre-back captain in the future. A solid performance, and he didn't make a mistake, in my opinion. And I'm sorry, Chris. I know I normally pair them together, but I'm going to give him a 9 out of 10. I thought he was absolutely brilliant yet again. Wout face. Hamza Chowdhury, standing captain, standing right back. Tell me the difference, because he did both. He took both responsibilities and handled them brilliantly. Yes, for one of their chances, it was his mistake, and he didn't quite track back and as well as others at some points. But he broke up play. He tried to get Leicester on the front foot. Fairly solid display, and probably won because he can't do what Ricardo does. Ricardo, we know, can burst down and join Fatu in attack, and Hamza Chowdhury hasn't got that built-in pace to be able to do it like Ricardo does on a consistent basis. But nonetheless, defensively wise and as an inverted wing back wise role, a solid performance. He gets a 7 from me out of 10. Oh, sorry, I needed a break in my breath. Kieran Dewsbury-Hall. I have questioned that he needs to stop thinking he has to be the next Maddison. He was corner taker, free kick taker, throw-in taker, goal kick taker, anything he could take. He was trying to get his name on everything. And over the last few weeks, he's stepped out of the Maddison shadow, and he's not trying to be Maddison. He's trying to be Kieran Dewsbury-Hall. He's trying to show us what Kieran Dewsbury-Hall is all about, and his performances in doing so have dramatically improved. Surprisingly, didn't get himself on a goal scoring sheet, and actually, surprisingly, I don't think he got an assist in the game, which for all the running around he did, I'm surprised he wasn't involved in it. But nonetheless, put in a solid performance. There is a midfielder that still to show for me in that centre mid that stole the ratings for me, but he did a solid performance, and he gets another 7 for me. Very, very well played, Kieran. Ronaldinho, the main man of the hour, the attacking centre-back, defensive midfield, winger, striker, every football manager's dream to have as a player that you find and bring into your team. Please, for the love of God, sign a new contract with us. I don't care if you want a relegation release clause or something, whatever it takes to make sure you're committed to this club before you go away in the African Cup of Nations. Please, God, sign it, deal it. I need to say no more, man. I called him Ronaldinho all show. He gets a 9 from me. He was absolutely fantastic. Maybe if I was to rethink the man of the match, I would have given it him. People some butthead. I like that. But yeah, 9. Absolutely fantastic display. Harry Winks. Probably his quieter game, to be perfectly honest with you. And it's not always a bad thing. I said this about Ndidi and Mendy when they played in his position. Sometimes it's what they do off the ball that you don't sing, and what you don't see and what you don't hear is what they're doing really well. Look, Mr. Reliable in that midfield. The main cog in that midfield, because he runs around like a Duracell bunny. After a few energy drinks on top of that, I feel like he's drinking Vardy's Red Bull with him as well. Was probably because of the attacking front men and Wilfred Indeed. He didn't actually have that much to do. I don't actually didn't hear his name all that much, which isn't a bad thing either. A solid 7 out of 10, just because it was one of his quieter games for once. Chris is having too much fun with his buttons playing the dancing through. Steffi Mavadini, for a while now, the only thing that's been missing from him is a glut of goals, and he answered his critics in the performance against Plymouth. Again, you can only beat what's in front of you, so you could say it's only Plymouth. They're doing better than other teams, and he's not had the luck elsewhere. A very solid performance, grew in confidence as the game went on. His lovely little step overs and his trickery completely eluded the 3 defenders and the goalkeeper for his second goal. Very well took penalty. I'm gonna give him an 8. I think he was very solid in the attack in front. Ooh, Chris has got the dancers out for him. Don't distract him, Chris, and don't distract me either. My man of the match. Now, usually I only save 9s for man of matches, but I've had to give a few out for the performance against Plymouth because I think it's fantastic. Sign him, make him a player, pay the 16 million, give it him now. I don't care. Whatever we need to do, if we can do it in January, bloody well do it. Make him a permanent Fox. Bring him home. He loves it here. We love him here. I thought I couldn't love Aloni more than I did Lukeman a few years ago. Abdul's proving me wrong. The best Loney out of the bunch that we've got at the club, and that's saying something considering I like them all here. And I have to do this because of my man match, and he deserves it. A perfect 10. Hungry, never stopped running. He's definitely on Santa's nice list. He deserves all the presents he can get and all the plaudits he deserves. It. A 10 out of 10 solid performance from that man on Saturday. Absolutely fantastic. Patson Daka. Well, Santa lives in the North Pole. That man's been in a colder area since for a long time, not just since Enzo's arrived. He was in it under Brendan, despite having some spells. Grinch maybe sums it up a little bit. Because he's not been getting much in the way of rewards, but you couldn't have asked for a better perfect return to the side, could you? He gets a goal, he gets an assist, he ran his socks off, he listened to his instructions, and it shows he's been together and part of the team when he has a halftime talk with Fatu and Hamadson, and they combine to get a goal. I'm going to give him an 8. I'm going to stick with the same thing I get for a team rating, because he did only play 60 minutes because he hasn't played. Well, he's played a minute this season. For me, he gets a 6. A 6 and 8. I said 6 because I saw something pop up then. He gets an 8 for me, Patson Daka. Hopefully, continues to play. The substitutes. Now, some of these got more minutes on it. Tom Cannon, finally. Not The Rock. The Rock hasn't come back to Friday Night SmackDown. I'm not doing one of them. But finally, we saw Tom Cannon play. A man who we kind of maybe forgot we signed. Steady. Didn't really get many chances in front of goal, unfortunately. That would have been perfect, wouldn't it? I think I would have had to give the performance a 10 that he scored and we won 5-0. Unfortunately, that wasn't to be. But with injuries and illness, he's probably going to get another chance to shine and show us what he's capable of against Millwall. But for me, he gets a 7. He did what was asked of him and did the best he could with the time he has. I was going to give a 6, but 6 and 7's the same, and I think he did deserve the higher number. Mr. Reliable, Mark Albrighton. His chances have been few and far between over the last year at Leicester, but he never, ever lets us down. And when the tempo was dropped and you needed someone who was going to put the foot on the ball and slow things down and be a bit more methodical with it and not Speedy Gonzalez like Steffi Mafadidi is, this is the man you want to be putting on, isn't it? Smart, experienced head, on the ball, wise man, as one man may say. A good old reliable performance from Mark Albrighton. And again, because of the way the game played out, wasn't too much involved in an attacking sense, but he gets a 7 from me, Chris. And now the final one. Dennis Pratt, the most unfortunate man on the planet at Leicester. Injuries and falling out have led to him not seeing much of him throughout his entire career at Leicester. But again, it was pleasing to see him get minutes under his belt. It was pleasing to see him have a decent performance for the time he was on the pitch. And there's not really much else I can say on it without repeating what I've said about the other two substitutes. And I'm just going to give him a 7, Chris. Fairly standard performance. Did his job that was needed of him. Gets a 7. Cassidy. Didn't do anything wrong. Get me wrong. But he's not. Maybe we put too much pressure on him, given his under-20 performance for Italy. Maybe because he's come on loan from Chelsea, there's a bit more expectation. But judging him off his performance, didn't do anything to kind of wow me, but didn't do anything wrong. Did his job that was needed to do. Shored up the midfield, played some passes. Very nice on the ball when he had it. Again, another 7, mate. There isn't really much else I can say about him, to be honest with you. And Ben Nelson, I'll give the same to as well, because he came on, he was a youngster. He wasn't really. Yeah, Ben Nelson. Good to see a youngster getting a breakthrough into the team. Good to see him getting chances. He came on with the comfort because it was obviously 4-0. The game was over, and he did a good job. Again, the 7 really is all I can give for the substitutes for the time they were on.
No, that is fine. I think that's the way forward, the way we did it tonight.
Yeah, I like that, Chris. Gives me.
Right, I was going to talk transfers. But we've been going for now just 4 minutes short of 2 hours, so we're going to leave that for tonight. We'll probably discuss those tomorrow in the debate show. Brad, thank you so very much. I will see you on Wednesday for the Millwall game, pre, during, and post. Sounds like he's at I just realised I've got the old game up there. Wow, that's a little bit silly of me, isn't it? I used to be good at this job, Don't know when, but at some point I was good at this job. But Brad, thank you very much, young man. Excellent as always. Appreciate your predictions. I will see you on Wednesday at 7:00.
Yeah, I will see you then. Thanks as always. I love doing this show. So cheers everybody that's joined in.
Brilliant. Take care, buddy.
Take care. See you Wednesday.
Cheers. Thanks there to Brad. I need to get all these things sorted. I don't know what's going on. Why that's got the old scope, I don't know. But look, hey, thank you, Nate. Appreciate that. Hope you've enjoyed it. Let us know in the comments below if you enjoy these shows or not. Like I say, we started doing them when we started losing. But look, we've got really... I enjoy doing them. Brad knows his stuff as well, which is a good job one of us does. But we will be back 7:00 tomorrow. I was going to do a Millwall preview, but my sons said don't want to go down the pub on Tuesday. To be honest with you, Daddy Chips, and there's no comparison. I'm off down the pub. So I will see you tomorrow at 7, and then 7:00 on Wednesday for the Millwall game. A little bit worried about that one, but we'll see. Take care, guys. Thanks very much for watching. Thank you to everybody who joined in the chat. And if you've been listening on your favourite podcast platform, I appreciate that as well. The holiday season is nearly upon us. Have a good one. Have you got your letters into Santa yet? Probably. I don't think I've ever been a good boy. Probably not. See you all tomorrow. Take care. Have a good evening.
Hi, this is Chris from Leicester Till I Die. Thank you for watching and listening. Have a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Don't do anything I wouldn't enjoy.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.